Hey YouTube, this is Rob from RP Model Railroads, and in this video I want to give you guys another update on the Ephrata Valley Railroad, and you can probably already tell in the video, so let's jump right into it with the brand new Ephrata Fire Department. So you guys already should have known from a video I put out not too long ago that I had plans on finding a new kit to replace the old Plasticville white and red, or brown and red because I painted it, shabby looking firehouse that was the Ephrata Fire Department. And I found exactly that. So on eBay I got this old Model Power fire station kit for a pretty good price, and it actually came in about a month ago, but I have not put it together because I was waiting for a rainy day in order to do so. And the right day came, and so I sat down, opened up the box to start building, and discovered there were no instructions in the box. Which, yeah, that was fantastic. But normally, the instructions for these old kits, at least in my experience, are pretty poor anyway. You pretty much have to look at the picture by eye and figure it out, so I looked at the front of the box and put the whole station together, and I think it turned out pretty nice. Now, the only modification I did to the building itself is that I did not glue the bell tower on the top of the firehouse, and that is actually because I'm going to be getting another cool siren made by Aaron Anderson. He's going to be custom painting it for me, and I'm going to be putting that on the side of the fire department. It'll just be more realistic, number one, as fire departments later down through history started to use sirens to alert volunteers or firemen that there was a fire call in the town, as opposed to the old-fashioned bell. So, and it don't really look like the building's lacking anything, in my opinion. So once the siren comes in, I'll probably give you guys another update. And I know it's definitely going to look cool because it's going to match the fire trucks. And I should probably mention, I did keep my old Model Power die-cast HO scale fire trucks that were with the old fire station. Just love the look of them. They're actually pretty close to American LaFrance Century fire trucks. They did a really good job, Model Power, when they made these. I believe a few people made them, but the ones I bought came out of a Model Power box. That's why I'm calling them that. And then the HO scale firemen, I had them glued onto the base of the layout by the old fire station, so I just pulled them off the layout itself and then glued them onto the base of the fire station. And I think they look pretty good there. Now, another awesome thing about this firehouse is, well, obviously I have it pulled up much closer towards the street, but that's because the whole building is way skinnier than the Plasticville building or any other firehouse I've really seen, which I did not know how skinny this building was going to be, but I'm really happy that it is this skinny because I'll be able to shoot some pretty good videos and photos at this angle with the camera through behind the firehouse looking towards the Ephrata Coal Company and the signal tower. So you'll probably see shots like this and views like this in future videos and photos that I put out. So I'm really happy that that worked out. Now, as far as scenery, I am not completely done with scenery yet because, as you know, I am going to be removing this old drab-looking brown house and replacing it with a junkyard sometime in the future. So the only thing I actually did was put some more black stone down for the driveway, and then also put woodland scenics on this side of the building just to add some color. But again, I'm not completely done with this until I officially start making the junkyard scene. So yeah, the Ephrata Fire Department officially has a brand new fire station, and I really like how it fits in with the rest of the layout. Just looks way cooler than the old Plasticville building did. So yeah, hope you guys share the same enthusiasm that I do about it. Now, the next thing I want to get into in this video is actually something that many of you already know about, but maybe some of you that follow me on YouTube do not yet know, and that is custom Ephrata Valley Railroad locomotives and train cars. So, without further ado, stay tuned. I always dreamed of having my very own custom Ephrata Valley Railroad locomotives and train cars that kind of incorporated some of my favorite railroad schemes like the Lehigh Valley Railroad, Pennsylvania Railroad, and Reading Railroad all into one to make something very cool looking. But long story short, I ended up short-sighting myself and never actually made any custom trains for the Ephrata Valley Railroad, that is, until I saw the work of Aaron Anderson on the Tyco Trains Forum. He was actually custom painting some other locomotives and train cars for another forum member, and they turned out really awesome, so we ended up chatting back and forth, and actually have made several deals now, collaborations, on custom locomotives and train cars for the Ephrata Valley Railroad. So some of you have probably already seen a few of these projects in some recent YouTube videos, but I figured I would make one to highlight some of his custom work, which turned out fantastic, bringing some of my Ephrata Valley Railroad dreams to life, and actually what it inspired me to create. So obviously this is Ephrata Valley Railroad number 219, a Tyco F9, and this is Ephrata Valley Railroad, well, 14097, a wide vision caboose. Both are Tycos. And again, this custom scheme that basically I came up with the colors and then Aaron improvised the design, and it turned out fantastic. And like I said, we have some other collaborations going on for other custom train cars and locomotives, so you guys will see those in future videos as well. But it inspired me to start experimenting and make my own custom locomotives, and around that time I started getting into collecting older HO scale steam locomotives. So without further ado, let's jump into some of my very own custom Ephrata Valley Railroad locomotives. So this is Ephrata Valley Railroad number 19, my custom IHC 260 Mogul steam locomotive. This thing actually turned out really good, and unfortunately the decal work did not turn out very well because the locomotive is a flat paint color. It's not gloss. I should have glossed it beforehand. I didn't do that. So I just ended up scrapping the decal idea and replacing the decals with the same sticker letters that Aaron had used on my other Ephrata Valley locomotives and train cars that he did, which turned out fantastic, and it made the Mogul look way better. Now I will be coming back to this model in the future to improve it. The silver lines that I did kind of make it look more toy-like than I had anticipated, so I will be coming back to this in the future. But making this locomotive and seeing how well it turned out actually inspired me to create more and more custom Ephrata Valley Railroad locomotives, and plan to actually start making more custom locomotives of different railroads in the future that you guys will probably see. So as I previously mentioned, Aaron also custom painted some train cars for the Ephrata Valley Railroad, and I briefly wanted to share these because I think that these turned out fantastic. These are two Ephrata Valley Railroad passenger coaches, a standard coach, and then an observation car for the Ephrata Valley Railroad. And thanks again, Aaron, for creating this unique custom scheme. It turned out really fantastic. It was certainly nothing that I never dreamed of, but I really like this. And it's actually meant to match this, the Ephrata Valley Railroad Shark Nose number 155. This thing actually still needs power torque trucks. I still have to fix the pair that I have to put them in here, as I've been busy with other projects, but I will be doing that soon. And the Ephrata Valley Railroad will soon be having the Ephrata Valley Flyer, if you will, passenger service. So again, thanks again, Aaron, for some incredible work. And now let's take a look at some other custom locomotives that have been done so far. So here was the next custom Ephrata Valley Railroad locomotive that I did on my own. This is number 20, a Mantua 262 Prairie steam locomotive. I'm actually not completely done with this yet, as I still need to adjust the rods properly, and quarter them, and fix the nut, because I unfortunately completely slaughtered it when I was trying to remove it to replace the traction tire, but that's another story. But I'm proud of how the custom job turned out here, and I went for a simpler is better sort of scheme to keep the realism. And yeah, so this thing needs a little bit of work to get it back running on the tracks again, unfortunately due to my own poor knowledge of locomotives at the time. But this turned out pretty fantastic, and it inspired me to create what I consider to be my best custom locomotive yet. And here is my Ephrata Valley Railroad 462, number 56. This locomotive turned out absolutely fantastic, and actually it involved the most work, as I had to take apart the boiler, the tender, etc., to spray paint them individually, and then I did the rest of the detailing paint later on. But I am very proud of how this custom work turned out. Basically, for my steam locomotives, I was kind of going for a Reading T1 sort of vibe, and I'm going to try to keep the same scheme for most of them, mainly because I want to try to keep the Ephrata Valley Railroad as realistic as possible for vintage HO trains, if that makes any sense. But again, I am very proud of how this 462 turned out, and trust me, it is going to see a lot of usage on the Ephrata Valley Railroad. And last but certainly not least, we have my latest custom steam locomotive, Ephrata Valley Railroad number 3, which is a Mantua 040 die-cast tank engine. This locomotive, in my opinion, has turned out quite unique, and the scheme is reminiscent of the same sort of scheme that Aaron and I came up with on the F9 number 219. So I decided to carry it forward with this 040, and in my opinion, I think it turned out pretty awesome. And it was pretty cool to actually create this locomotive as well. So, yeah, those are some of my custom Ephrata Valley locomotives that either I've created, as I previously mentioned, or I've gotten from Aaron in deals that we've done, and we've got some more awesome deals on the way, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And I will be putting together a giant Ephrata Valley Railroad custom locomotive video sooner or later. Once I get some more custom shells from Aaron, I will be putting all of them into one video so that, you know, the Ephrata Valley Railroad officially has its own locomotives, and you guys will be able to see them in their typical form. So, hope you guys enjoyed this update video, and stay tuned.